Is this thing on?
Are you ready, Matt?
You're listening to Box Office Bingers
with Matt Diaz and Ernesto Santos.
Good evening, folks. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Box Office Bingers.
And the only way that I know how to do it is to find you a bloody good dump.
He's my friend. I don't have friends. I got family.
I can do this all day.
You know, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
All right, Matt, this is it. We're getting close to wrapping up our Oscar coverage this year, and I feel this week is the very sad week. This is a very sad week on our review because we're gonna, what are we covering this week?
We are covering all of the documentaries and documentary shorts that has been nominated for the Oscars this year. And full disclaimer here, it's gonna be an extremely sad conversation.
Yeah. These are all these short films and films. There's just very a lot of tough subject matter we're talking about here.
Yes, very, very tough subject matter.
So in documentary short films, we have All the Empty Rooms, Armed with Only a Camera, The Life and Death of Brett Renard, Children No More, Are Gone. Sorry. Children No More, Were and Are Gone. The Devil is Busy and Perfectly Estrangedness.
And then the nominees for documentary feature film, we have The Alabama Solution, Come See Me in the Good Light, Cutting Through Rocks, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and The Perfect Neighbor. The Perfect Neighbor we actually talked about in a previous episode. So we're going to briefly talk about it again here, but this was actually the only one, and we were actually quite surprised about this one that, we actually really enjoyed this documentary and enjoy is a loose term, but we understood the message and we thought it was presented in a very effective way.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Sorry,
I was saying I agree with you. I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, and I think even when we talked about it, we were like, well, this is definitely going to be nominated.
Yeah, and it was getting a lot of buzz when it came out originally on Netflix, and so I was kind of happy to see that it got nominated because it was a really good documentary, based just showcasing like just facts. But again, we'll dive in. We'll talk about that one a little bit later in the show, as well as our the nominees for the other feature films and the documentary shorts. But it's going to be all about some real world shit. That's basically what it's going to come down to on this week's episode as we continue our road down the Oscars and we continue our coverage on it. And this is going to be the last episode before we go into next week, which will be recovering everything. It will be like the last few weeks we've been talking about certain categories, but now next week will be the episode that we very much look forward to every year, and it is the predictions episode.
And this year, we get to say that we watched everything.
Yeah.
Sorry, I never get to break out the music, Ben. It was a very fitting moment.
It was a fitting moment. This would be the third year in a row that we watched everything that was nominated.
Yeah, and we're getting it done a week, 2 weeks early, like way early. Usually it's like the week before we're like we got it like right down to the wire, but like this is the first week that we've actually had some time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like I said, we're recording that episode next week at the time of this recording, and at the time of this recording, we have I think Ernesto are both and I in the same boat. We have 2 more things to watch.
Yeah,
and then or 2 or 3 more things to watch, and after that, we are officially caught up, and so we're gonna talk about the remaining of the things we have not yet reviewed yet on this show in our predictions episode. So it'll be a couple of documentaries that were listed in the best original song category, as well as the hair and makeup category mainly. And I think we didn't talk about the Lost Bus yet, which is in the visual effects category. So we'll talk about that movie as well in those categories. But everything else and our journey along down our Oscars coverage, we've been kind of the last 4 weeks, we've been kind of hitting up. The whole month of February has been taken up by the Oscars.
Yeah, well,
And I enjoyed it. I
yeah,
enjoyed this ride.
it's always fun. It gives us like a little. It just gives us some direction. Like 'cause usually we're like, oh,
Yeah.
what are we gonna watch this week? What are we gonna watch next week? But I guess like once we get the Oscars, it gives us like this long homework sheet, this like long term project that we're gonna work on. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just kind of fun to see what they pick and why they pick it,
Yes.
and then kind of going from there. And then we're usually pretty spot on with our predictions.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. This year I'm gonna start making a list as we're going through the episode and trying to check off to see. All right, this is our box office bingers prediction. Let's see if we get it right and kind of move on from there. And we'll do a couple of research on some other, see what the industry is kind of feeling.
Yeah.
We'll also talk about some of the other award ceremonies that have been going on. By the time we get to next week, we would have already had the Actors Awards, uh, presented by the Screen Actors Guild. And so we'll talk about those winners next week as well. So yeah, it's an interesting time. And then also after we're done with all the coverage, and then we will after that we'll have our bonus episode, which will cover all the winners and the ceremony itself. It feels like we have like a refreshed palette because then we go back and start watching shit that we would normally watch, and it feels like so visceral. It's like you just went through watching all these documentaries, night, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, now I want to go back and watch St. Dennis Medical.
Yeah. But it's just like a good switch. It's like you inundate yourself with like all these like really like, what you would consider Oscar bait, what we consider typical Oscar bait, like dramas, like some with really heavy material, some are action packed. There's been a nice mix. They've been kind of mixing it up a little bit lately. It's not so much the RT avant-garde ones. There's been these past couple years have been good. I'm pretty happy with the selection this year for the nominees.
Yes, so am I. But I just find it funny because like in a few weeks we'll be like, all right, here's our thoughts on St. Dennis Medical, Shrinking, the Super Mario movie.
That's a good example. It's like we're gonna review Super Mario Galaxy.
Oh yeah, Super Mario. Get ready for Mortal Kombat 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, Project Hail Mary.
I'm very excited to see. But you know what? I'm excited to see all these projects.
Yeah, me too. They don't call us box office binges for nothing.
We watch it all. We don't care.
We don't care.
Happy
It might make
to-
us cry and make us sad sometimes, but we don't care.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of sadness later.
All right, before we get to all of our Oscars coverage, let's dive into a little segment we like to call What You Watch. And Sir Ernesto, we'll start with you. What have you been watching?
Well, I have one thing that I really want to talk that I'm going to talk about because it's really like besides all the Oscar stuff, there's the main thing I've watched, which is that movie Eternity. And this is a movie I don't know if you remember, Matt, but like I was like really wanted to see this movie. I thought the premise of this movie, I think the premise of this movie is it's just really interesting. So it's Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, and Callum Turner. Callum Turner is her first husband who dies while he's off at war. So they're together for like 2 or 3 years, and then he dies. And then a couple years later, she remarries Miles Teller's character, and they live a whole life together. But then he dies, and he's they use his death to kind of introduce what like eternity is like, and it's like this like it's like the mid terminal at an airport. It's got like there's like rooms, there's like shops. It's like, this is your hub to where you're going to pick to spend the rest of your eternity. So this is kind of like a version of limbo. So, but you get to decide where you want to spend your eternity. And so her first husband has been waiting there for 67 years. And then she eventually dies. So then she's faced with this dilemma of who does she pick? And I just thought it was so interesting because like, there's a case for her to pick either of them, and it could be, but this movie unfortunately did not deliver that. Like,
no,
I think it's predictable, in which I was fine with. Like, you more or less know who she's gonna pick. Like, it's kind of an obvious choice.
Well, don't tell me yet.
I don't want to tell you. I won't tell you. Like once they set it up, the way they present the narrative, you kind of get who she's gonna pick. Like you understand why she picks this person. But then it just became about other things. Like they just made like really weird jokes, like Divine Joy Randolph's in this movie from The Holdovers, and she's great. This other guy that I can't remember his name, but then like they're like the eternity hosts. They're the after death coordinator, so they help people coordinate to send them to their different attorneys. And there's like they do. There's a parody of like a bunch of different ones. There's like a bromance verse. There's like they talk about ones that are not socially acceptable anymore, like racist eternities, like beach eternities, like mountain eternity. It's I don't know. They just make a lot of weird jokes, and I felt like it just detracted away from what could have been like a really good story. There's some good parts in it, like there's this whole of your first love versus the person who you built a life together with. So there you do get a little bit of that, but I just felt like it could have been executed better.
Interesting. That's kind of unfortunate to hear because I thought the premise was interesting. I'm trying to look up see if the director did anything. No, this is like his first major project. Um, yeah, I had some high hopes for this one. The premise seemed
Yeah.
interesting enough, and it looked like your standard rom com.
Yeah, and there's some of that. It's just I don't know. Like I walked out of it and I didn't feel lovey or satisfied. I just felt like I was like that was strange. Like it was just it was just like there was just a lot of weird, strange things that happened. Like I don't know.
Hmm, that's sad. All right, well, I will be watching this movie once Megan returns.
Yeah, let me
from
know what you
work.
think. Let me know what you think because I thought it was weird. And I
Yeah,
was
it's
sad because I
I
wanted it to.
it,
I wanted it to like it. I wanted to enjoy it better than I did,
mm,
and
that's a
unfortunately,
shame.
I did not.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
That sucks. But yeah, once I see it, we'll talk about it in further detail.
yeah. So I guess we can move on to your stuff now, because that's all I. Besides Fallout, that's all I got.
Okay, all right. I in the topic of documentaries, I was in at this point a documentary mood. And I watched the semi-new Netflix documentary. It came out in November called Being Eddie, which is just it's a documentary about Eddie Murphy and his life. And I feel like this was like a by the numbers documentary. Whereas, like, if you didn't know Eddie Murphy, or if you have an inkling about knowledge of Eddie Murphy, here is an overview documentary about Eddie Murphy. And then that's about it. Like I think the whole the kind of the bookend of the documentary was like him starting his career at SNL, and then the documentary just ends with him coming back to SNL after many, many years later. I forgot how many years later, but it was back in 2019 when he became a guest host on SNL. And for him, it was like he has like his rough history with the show, and he didn't want anything to do with it. And then he got older, and then eventually he came back and was a guest host, and then was have like a full circle moment for himself. And in the middle of the documentary, they talked about his career and his childhood and all that stuff. And that was it. Like, I feel like it just ended. Like, we weren't really going toward anything. And he was like, "Yeah, I still got a long career to go." And they were like showcasing some of his newer movies and saying the new things he was coming next, and like him being a comedian, and he doesn't feel like he's a comedian, but he's an actor. He just wants to make people laugh, and like he's still working and doing his thing. Talk talk a little bit about his break, like because he was making like a string of bad movies, and then he's like, if people don't think I'm funny anymore, then why? I don't want to go out. I'm just gonna spend more time with my family. And then people were saying that he's retired. He's like, I'm not retired. I just stopped for a while, and then he came back, and then did all this stuff. So like it was interesting, but I feel like it felt like a documentary where it didn't really tell me anything new. Like, I feel like that if there was another documentary or you read an article, all this information would have been there. It wasn't like you were getting like exclusive information. But overall, it's a solid documentary. I mean, if you like Eddie Murphy, it's like a 90-minute showcase of his career and little insight that you probably knew or did not know before.
Okay, I mean, so it sounds like I didn't miss too much.
No, but again, if you're a fan, then
D-
watch it.
Does it have now? Okay, does it have like interviews with him, Like,
Yeah.
is he interviewed by the documentary crew?
Yeah, yeah, he's that a newer you can tell it was, like, newer footage,
Okay.
but, yeah, that is, basically all the interviews was him in his home,
Ah,
and so,
okay.
he was, talking of, recollecting certain things, and then they were showcasing that they were probably documenting heavy when he came back to SNL. But I don't know if that was, older footage or if they were even doing this documentary at the time because that was back in 2019, and so now we're in 2025. So, were they working on this documentary for that long, or were this footage that was already there and you kind of put it together? But it was like he was talking about stuff that he was currently doing. So, but yeah, the newer footage was driving the narrative
Oh,
of
okay.
of the documentary.
All right.
So it was fine.
Yeah.
Again, if you like the subject matter, you'll probably like the documentary.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's fine, but like
Yeah,
nothing like super riveting.
no, not really.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, riveting is a good word that it wasn't.
All right.
All right. Moving on to a new release that I saw in theaters, which is Crime 101, starring pretty much an all-star cast, really, with Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, and Halle Berry. Honestly, that was the whole reason why I wanted to watch this movie. I was like, that cast is stacked.
Yeah.
What is this movie all about? And I would say the first half of this movie was really good.
Uh huh.
I think we started off strong, a little bit of mystery into the character, and also a really good car chase. I was watching the movie and I was like, damn, I haven't seen a good dramatic car chase in a while. And I was like, damn, this is pretty good. And I was into it. You have Chris Hemsworth, which is basically I guess he's assassin isn't the right word, but he's basically like a kill for hire, basically, for the most part, with his own code. And then he's also socially awkward. Um, but he has his own mission in mind. And Mark Ruffalo is trying to find the guy who keeps, well, actually he doesn't kill people. I shouldn't say that. He does not kill people. He is he's a robber. He's a so assassin or murderer is not the right word.
A thief.
Um so he's a thief. He does these elaborate heists that he comes out clean and no harm is done to the people. So then Mark Ruffalo, who plays the cop, is trying to find who is the person who is doing all these heists. And they believe it's all isolated occurrences, but he's the only person that believes it's one person that's doing this. And so then there's that storyline. Then we find out that Chris Hemsworth is working for an organization and Barry Keoghan is more of the young gun who just wants money and but Chris Hemsworth's the one that's by the books. And then there's Halle Berry's character who is involved in the latest heist, but kind of not really. It's she has her own story going on and then kind of falls into the mess that Chris Hemsworth is in that Mark Ruffalo is investigating, and then Barry Keoghan is kind of threatening her if she doesn't obey certain things. And that's when it starts getting a little convoluted. And then
Okay.
you also have Chris Hemsworth trying to date. He starts dating this woman that kind of doesn't go anywhere as any relevance to the story. And then we're meant to believe that he wants to slow down a little bit and all that stuff. And so once we start getting into more and more into the story, I feel like we just start getting lost in the idea. Then by the end of the movie, I don't know what we're like going what's the drive for the end of this movie. And I feel like it just was and then it's over.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't get a chance to rush out to the theaters. I planned to go see it, but I just didn't get a chance. And isn't
Yeah,
it? I think I saw. Isn't this like a 2 hour and this is almost a 2.5 hour movie?
it is. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's not short.
That's too long.
I did feel like it was showing, it was wearing down on me a little bit. But I did like it. I just feel like it didn't I just feel like we didn't end strong. And so like we're doing all this build up that was worth it. And then eventually you start realizing, why is this important? Like, what do we like? What's the end goal here? What's
What are
the
we
end game?
doing?
What are we doing? And so that's where I started losing a little bit. And then I was like, you kind of just walk out of the theater. It was like, okay. Like it was good. And I wanted you to watch it because I think it could have sparked a good conversation, but also I'm not it was like I think we could have had a good back and forth about it, but nothing you had to rush to the theater to go.
Okay.
It wasn't
Well,
like
once it
like this is
hits
some like
once it hits streaming, I'll check it out.
yeah, we can revisit this when streaming hits. But other than that, like I don't think it was like we really gotta see this. It was like when you have time.
You got time, you can go check it out. All right.
Yeah, you should go check it out when you got like 5 minutes.
All right.
Or when you have like 2 hours and 20 minutes. So yeah, I would probably give it like a 3.
Okay. All right.
Like a 3 out of 5. All right, next thing we're gonna talk about is Fallout Season 2. Something that have finished and you are almost done with it.
Yeah, I'm 6 episodes in. I believe there's 8.
Yes, I think you're right. But what do you think of it so far?
I actually really enjoyed the season. It started a little slow, but then I think once you kind of get into it, it really picks its stuff up. I mean, all the stuff with the Brotherhood is it's still very reminiscent of the game, where you get a sense that each faction is trying to do in the wasteland. Like I feel like you don't really follow one. If I feel like the show does a really good job at balancing following each character and giving them their due. Like you have her brother who's like after he unfroze everybody, he's kind of leading them. You get to deal with that. You of course Walton Goggins as the ghoul and is like, he's technically like the pit boy, like technically the main
Yeah.
logo. It's like based off of his characters. I'm really digging the backstory that they're giving him. And then there's the Robco guy, like the main guy, Justin. I can't remember his last name off the top of my head. The guy from The Leftovers.
I'm not seeing him on here. Justin?
Justin.
You talking about
Maybe it's Justin.
you talking about Maximus, like with the Brotherhood, or no?
No. He's in the flashbacks. He's like the main guy who her dad works for.
Oh, yes.
His
Is it
name
Kyle?
is
He plays Hank McClane.
not Hank. It's who Hank works for.
Like the guy on not the overseer, but like
Not
the
overseeing
guy who's running
thing.
the casino.
Yes, the guy. who's
Him.
in-
Okay.
What is his name? Bud Askins? No, that's not him. It's not Bud. Justin Thoreau. That's his name.
Oh, there you go. That's it.
See, I know it was Justin something. he plays Robert House. I really
Okay.
like his character. I mean, like the whole brain control thing. I mean, the whole sequence with Hank, like taking the people back and forth and like unfreezing people and like trying to get the experiment to work. I kind of love that whole thing. And kind of like how they showed out like New Vegas. I mean, I love the death claws. I think they're one of the most intriguing things about the game. And the scene where they're coming up they go in the gate and then you see one death claw and then like it cuts to the episode and then the episode reveals itself and it's really like 3 of them. I don't know. I just thought it was really great tension building. I've really enjoyed this.
To me, after watching everything, I think the first season is much stronger than the second season.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And I found myself really not giving a shit every time we went to the Brotherhood storyline.
It's definitely the weakest, especially because you have that guy from
Kumail Nanjiani.
Well, him and the guy who turned into a ghoul. He was also from
From Superstore.
yeah, the guy from Superstore. But he plays. It's like if his character from Superstore survived the apocalypse and came into Fallout, because isn't he like the same? He's like
The same guy.
right? He's like the same character.
Same character. I really enjoy him. He brings some levity to all of this. But I don't know. I felt like compared to like I'm all in on Walter Goggins, the ghoul,
Yes.
him as Howard Cooper Howard in the flashbacks. Like I love all that shit. Lucy and like, seeing, her journey and her father and like what her father's actually doing, Hank McClane, and like going into this, into New Vegas and the secret uh underground like office that that have work to be done, and what the work actually what he's doing, and seeing what's his name, House, uh
Robert
what's
House.
Justin Thoreau, Robert House, like that whole backstory, all that stuff is so much more intriguing.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, all right, but then we get muddled a little bit with like, okay, what's going on with like this other faction that like they ran into. I forgot what the name they gave themselves. It was like I forgot the faction they called themselves. But it was like two people running it.
Oh, it's like the Republic, the New Republic, something like that.
Something along those lines. Yeah. And then that got introduced, and then Macaulay Culkin and that faction got introduced, and like whatever they're doing over there, and then the whole brotherhood thing. And I just feel like we just kept cutting away to different things that I felt like at the end of the day didn't amount to anything.
Oh,
Like it was just filler.
so you're saying I'm going to be disappointed at the end of the season? Is what you're telling me?
No, I don't think so, because I think there are other things that has good payoff.
Ah, okay.
I'm just saying that I was never, from start to finish, I didn't care about those storylines. Even with the brother, by the time that's over, by the time like where we leave off with that type of storyline, I was like, what was the point of all that?
Mm.
Like what was the point of that where we left off by season finale? Like I feel like there was no resolution to the season as a whole. It was just, this could have continued into the next episode, but this is just where we're stopping with this story. But I feel like if you look at from episode 1 season 2 to episode 8 season 2, like it was filler to me.
Mm.
Like this at this point, this could have been 6 episodes, and you just focus on Lucy and the ghoul, because that's your strongest story right there.
I could see that. I could see that. I guess because I feel like I assume that there's gonna be payoff, but if you're telling me there's not, then it's just like,
Well,
it kind of reminds me of like The Walking Dead, where we spend like 3 episodes walking in the woods, just like fucking around.
yeah. I think there is payoff. And also, I'm coming from a person who have not played the games.
Ah, okay.
So I have nothing to compare it to. So when you can tell there's certain things that are like, ooh, this is a moment. I don't know what it means, but it feels like a moment.
It feels like they're drawing attention to this one specific thing.
Yeah, like the death claws are really cool looking.
Yeah.
But like I know they mean something else in the game, but like as far as like just to me, it's just a monster.
Yeah, they're just really fucking hard to kill.
Yes.
They're like very impossible to kill in the game.
And I think that's very clear here. But yeah, especially with the Brotherhood stuff, that one really just bogs me down. Like every time they cut away to it, it's like, I don't care. Like I really don't care what you guys are doing over there. And then I don't know where you are, but there's one point, I don't want to say it, but there's something that happens, and I was like, what was the point of us spending like 6 episodes with the fucking Brotherhood then? If that's like, if we're just gonna like cut away and do something else.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say it in case I give away the wrong thing, but something did happen at the area that they were at.
Where are you in the show? Where is the Brotherhood now?
Well, that whole Area 51 went down because he killed Kumail Nanjiani. Who was like the Commonwealth ambassador.
Yes.
He killed him, and then he brought back the other guy who's the ghoul, and he wore the suit. And then it turned into a shootout because he was going to kill Quintus, I think his name is.
Yes. Yeah.
So then he ended up running away, and he took the cold fusion core. And then like you walk away, they're walking away, and you see like the ships go down, and like like whatever war is happening over
Yeah.
there, and then they eventually just they leave the suit and they continue walking. And that was the last time I saw them.
Okay. That's exactly what the scene I'm talking about. Like, to me, like, we spent all that time dealing with all that, and then they're like, "Let's get the fuck out of here." I was like, "We should have got the fuck out of there way sooner than that." Because I just feel like I just didn't care about whatever, whatever problems they had over on that side of the world.
Because then he left him in season 1, only to come back to him in season 2.
So now leave him again
Wow.
in season 2. So, yeah, and then, like, I started caring about that character and his sidekick Ghoul and the rest of their adventures for the last 2 episodes once they left that.
Mm.
Because now I feel like they were coming back into the fold.
Mm. Ah,
Like,
okay.
into
Okay.
yeah. They're coming back to the story that I care about.
Mm.
So and that's just me. So, like, again, coming from a person who has only watched the shows, I felt like the first season was structured way more better, than the first season than the second season. I feel like there was, like, a lot of things they were introducing, and I feel like the cohesiveness wasn't as strong as it was in the first season.
So I guess maybe me as a game player, like I'm just enjoying it differently. Excuse me, differently than you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Because even I talked to a friend who played the game. He's like, "Oh yeah, well this moment meant this, and like, this was in the game." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you got plenty to chew on." I'm just getting a face value. It's like, yeah, I don't know what's the fuck's going on.
Like the whole shit of her being addicted to drugs, I thought that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, that was really funny. He's like, "You got any more?"
It's like you can do this and deal with it for 4 days, or you can just do more drugs. It's like
And then
I'll
she
do
was
more
like,
drugs.
"Okay, okie dokie." I was like, "Yeah, I can do this off for 4 days." And she's like, "You got any more?" Yeah, it's pretty good. Walter Goggins, who's the other person? Elena
Ella Purnell.
Purnell. Yeah, they're fucking killing it, man.
Yeah, they're great.
Like, they got it down packed really well. So we're probably not getting season 3 until 2027. So long time for that.
Long time, long time.
Yeah, but it was it's a solid season.
Yeah.
Solid season.
So I think it's maybe got like maybe 2 more seasons left in it.
Yeah,
from what you're saying.
eventually you can make it better or make it worse. That's how it comes down to.
You're either on the way down or you're on the way up.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. But it got renewed for obviously a third season. So another third season's coming. I don't know if it got renewed for a fourth, but definitely for a third. So we'll see. They definitely, open up some doors. So we'll see where it goes. And the last thing I want to talk about this week in our What You Watching segment is a movie, Ernesto, you had talked about a while ago.
Yes.
And the movie's called Rental Family, and it just hit Hulu a couple of days ago, and so I finally got a chance to watch it when it hit streaming, and I really enjoyed this movie.
Right? It's great. It's kind of very heartwarming. What'd you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's very heartwarming, and I felt like at times was a little bit slow,
Yeah.
but I think it presented an interesting story about a program that as an actor you are like kind of acting in real life, and like it's a different type of experience,
Hmm.
and you're pretending to be somebody that you're not in order to have the person that are paying for these services to, I guess, either feel something or get by somewhere or pretend to be somebody else. And I don't know how this works legally as far as a service, because like Brendan Fraser was hired to pretend to be someone's father so they can like, because then, and this was a very cultural thing in Tokyo.
Hmm.
So like there was also playing along those like things that are like you won't understand because you're not part of the culture, and you don't understand the heritage and stuff like that. So like and then a way this movie is kind of introducing those type of like tropes that that happens in Japan, and not tropes, but like I guess their reality and their expectations of like how they deal with certain things, and as Americans we don't think that way or do things that way, and so trying to like see it under their eyes and trying to understand their ways. And we were doing it through Brendan Fraser, who is not necessarily trying to understand it, but in a way he is, and also like and through these real life acting roles that he was kind of taking upon himself, kind of understanding more about himself, but also like the culture that's over in Tokyo.
Mm.
And what I found interesting is as far as like as an American brain, I was like, how does this work legally? Because now he's pretending to be this little girl's father, to then trick the school to believing that this is a married couple, so they can then she can like go through this process um uh in order to get to this really prestigious school.
Hmm.
But then but that has to be, then we also can't tell the little girl that this is fake. So we're gonna pretend that this is your estranged father that you'd never met before, because clearly there's not a father in the picture. And so we're just gonna trick this girl into believing that her father was American, and then we're also gonna trick the school to believe that we're gonna sign all these paperwork, and then he's gonna disappear. Like, silly Americans, they just leave. We need no proof.
They're the worst. They leave their family
All the time.
all the time.
So I thought it was interesting, like that aspect, and then also what really got me though was the relationship he had with the old man.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
That connection that he made of like he thinking that he is forgotten, and at some point it was never about, because he was being hired to interview him, as this fake article that he was writing on like chronologizing, like kind of going over his life and his history as a director or a writer or an actor.
I think it was a direct. I think it was a director or actor. I can't remember. It was either a director or actor.
Yeah. But then they formed this bond together, and then really when they went out and they went on this adventure, and they went up in the mountains, and they went in, and they showcased like what he went in the mountain up in the mountains for. And then like he was basically looking up old photos, and he kind of buried them. And it was, to me, it was like a heartbreaking line. He was like, "This is my life before my life." And it's like he lived a whole other life and a whole different version of him, other than the version that people know of him. And I just, at that point, I was like, "Fuck, man,
But it's a
this is my life before my life." That's crazy.
but it's a true sentiment to all of our lives. I mean,
Yeah,
like the life. Let's think about like your college life. Like you were a whole different person than you are now. Even in
yeah,
even every section of your life, like you kind of close the chapter on that person and become this new person. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
he's
and
like the end of that. And then we're looking at him. He's reflecting on the beginning of his road when he's at the end of the road.
yeah, yeah. And I thought the whole aspect of like this whole company that this guy was running, and basically like just offering these things, and then we also see a light of like other people who are also part of the company, like kind of doing like these apology hirings where they're like these people are pretending to be other people's spouses, and then like just so they can hide the real spouse, that the real person they're cheating on,
Hmm.
but they want to confront them without showcasing who the actual person is and stuff like that. And then there's also uh another heartbreaking scene. The main guy who's running the company was also, spoilers, hiring other people to pretend to be his wife and daughter, and those were also actors as well. And I was like, damn, that's heartbreaking. Like, this guy naturally just lives alone, and you think he's coming home to like a happy family, like just kind of waiting for him, and like he just wants that feeling,
Hmm.
capturing the feeling of being wanted. That's kind of what his whole business was about. However, it came at a cost, as for the actors who are in those environments, because they realize that once you leave somebody's life, like, you're building these connections with these people. It's like you just can't walk away and leave, because they you made a connection with these people. And I don't know, I really enjoyed the message here.
Yeah,
And especially the very end when he goes to that like I guess that prayer area, and the old man was like, "You should come in." He's like, "No, I don't, I don't do that." And then after, toward the end of his life, he kind of goes in and he sees what's inside like the little hut area.
Mm.
And he realized there was a mirror, and that's like how they ended the movie. And he just kind of chuckles. And I don't know, I just feel like it was really sweet and really heartwarming, and like I understood like some of the messages of like human connection and cultural differences, and like the more time you spend with people, you naturally form a bond with one another.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a great film. I kind of wish it got a little bit more love than it did, but here we are.
Yeah, this was in like somewhat of an early conversation of this being looked at the award circuit. But at the end of the day, it didn't really get any attention. And there were a lot of movies like that that just didn't get any love, not only at the Oscars but for the other award shows as well. But this was up there, like it was like a really early contender, but then never got any love at the end of the day.
Mm,
But I thought Brendan Fraser's performance, I mean,
phenomenal. He's on a
it's
hot streak. Like this is like he's like at the peak. I mean, he's doing that Roosevelt thing now. We've got the Mummy.
yeah.
He's coming back for the Mummy with Rachel
Oh,
Weisz.
when I saw that, I was like, "Oh man, this guy on the rise. Let's go, man."
Yeah, that's directed by Radio Silence. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a fun movie.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really fun movie. That's high hopes, man.
Yeah.
High hopes. High hopes. But all right, so that's everything we've been watching. So now let's continue our coverage of the Oscars. And this is gonna be a rough conversation. A lot of the subject matter we're going to be talking about is rough. So full disclaimer that our mood's going to change.
We're like, ha, ha, ha. All right, let's gonna go ahead and
uh,
shifting gears. Ugh.
Let's get serious. But yeah, so here are the nominees for documentary short film. As Ernesto mentioned earlier, we're gonna be talking about we're gonna be talking about the five nominees, and we're first gonna be talking about All the Empty Rooms. And it follows correspondent Steve Hartman and photographer Bope, Lou Boop, as they embark on a 7-year long project to document the empty bedrooms of children killed in school shootings. This was rough.
This was absolutely heartbreaking. It was incredibly sad. Just kind of, but it was a way. What I appreciated about it is that it was a way to show school shootings through a different light. He mentions it in the
Yes.
documentary that the focus is usually on the shooter and why they did it and the purpose and those things are important. But it's also
Mhm.
important to remember the people that we lost, and then seeing them through their room, like you get like it's almost more intimate than looking at a picture of them, because like you're almost like you're looking into the window of like who they were as a human being. And I loved it. I think that I think it is this documentary is a beautiful way to honor them, and it's a way to pay homage to them. These people who are their lives were cut short due to the senseless violence. I mean, I was boohoo crying at the end of this. I mean, it was absolutely gut wrenching.
Yeah, I think this documentary is well put together, and I think it was I think we kind of gave it a little bit of weight. Not, I mean, there was a lot here to give it some weight here. What really kind of got me was that it was coming from a a news correspondent who was known for giving like at the end, like he was the guy that gave the heartfelt stories. And so his job during I think it was CBS that that he worked for. And his job was to kind of like, hey, I know we just talked about the school shooting. Let's put a good like heartfelt spin to this. And he was kind of tired as a reporter and as a journalist to cover that because there's nothing light or happy about school shootings. And like I think he was getting tired of it. And so I think in a way this was like not only for what he was doing as his career and as his job, but also like you mentioned before, showcasing this type of story in a different light. And it's not it's and yes, I think he even said in the documentary as well, following the shooter and getting the information is important. But what gets lost is that he said each week we're talking about a school shooting and people are becoming numb to it. Like, oh, just another school shooting, whatever. Like it became almost a normal thing, and it's not a normal thing to happen. Um, and then going into the rooms of these kids who their parents still left this room intact after many years, and I was actually surprised by like, oh yeah, this shooting was 5 years ago, and they haven't even touched the room. And so I think to me that was like, wow, like it's heartbreaking to like, and to them is like, to me when they walk into the room, it's like I can still smell them when I walk into this room. It still
Mm,
has their smell. I'm afraid if I put anything away, I will lose that sense of smell. And the grieving process is strong. Like to them, this is honoring their child that was killed for no reason.
mm,
And even like heartbreaking when they go to one of the rooms, like, well, this is a clothes they were gonna wear the next day. Here's letters that they found to their future selves, and like this was her favorite thing, or this was their favorite thing. And it was like just seeing the empty room of what was that, and just silently taking photos in the room and kind of absorbing what that meant to not only the family, but to like the person who they were. And you can know a lot about a person just by looking at their room, what they liked and everything. And this was an actual person. This was a child. And it was truly, truly heartbreaking and very effective.
oh, yeah, very, very effective. And I think it just truly highlights how horrible it is that we lost them because, like you said, you get a sense of like letters to their future self of like, this things that will never be, you know?
Mhm. And then it just and again, you just never know. Like, and I think they also highlight in the documentaries like this could be your kid next.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like,
Like I totally understand. If I lost my kids, God forbid, like I wouldn't be able. I probably wouldn't even be able to go into that room, or it'd be a very long time before
mhm.
I'd be able to go in there.
Yeah, this one hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
This one definitely hit pretty hard.
So now we're going to talk about Armed with Only a Camera: The Life and Death of Brent Renard, an intimate chronicle about documentary filmmaker Brent Renard, the first American journalist killed while reporting on the Russia-Ukraine war. Yeah, this one was also incredibly sad just to see somebody who was trying to do somebody who's doing so much good in the world, like putting himself in so much danger just to ensure that this information got out to the rest of the world, and showing that it, I know a lot of people talk, that maybe journalism is dying, but this is a showcase that it how necessary it is. I mean, you see all the different things that he covered. He covered the Haiti earthquake and different parts of the war, and just somebody who continually put themselves in harm's way just so that the information about what's actually happening in the world gets out there. Another one, incredibly sad. Like especially at the end when you're hearing all the veterans and everybody talking at his funeral, and just they just spoke so highly of him, and it's just another one. Like, you know, we lost another really good soul in this world.
Yeah, and to kind of go this this sense of like he it's kind of a bad way of looking at it in a way, but this is like this man died doing what he I wouldn't say, I'm not sure if he loved doing it, but it felt like this was his responsibility to cover things that other people weren't covering, or getting the truth into these wars. And he did, and he obviously spent his life and his career going along this journey, covering multiple wars, being in the line of fire, documenting the truth that was there. So it was a tragedy that he got lost and he died, or we lost him in yet another war. But it was in a way almost fitting that that was the way he went out. Not the same like, oh, here's my career, but like he put himself in the front lines to get this information, and he also now died to get this information. And so, kind of seeing um, like the overwhelming response of not only the media but the people surrounding him, it was like how nice this guy was and everything. I didn't really know anything about this person before this documentary, but I do vaguely remember like hearing news that like uh a reporter and a journalist was had died in the basically in the line of duty. And so like and also what I found really interesting was like even the brother who was like a duo to him who was not there with him when he got shot, but felt the need to basically record his corpse. And there was even a guy in the video was like, "Why are you doing that?" And he's like, "He would have wanted me. Like this is exactly what my brother would have done. This is the exact same thing my brother wanted people to see." And so, his death shouldn't be any different. I thought that was actually, kind of powerful, like the message that I think he was trying to present.
Yeah, well, he's like, I know how my brother would have wanted to been honored, and it's
Yeah.
important that we document these things.
Yeah, and I feel like ultimately there's not much to say. It was kind of just highlighting how much he was a documentarian, and then he died. Um, like it was kind of like a brief overview
Yeah,
of his life. So like in a way, like it was like kind of showcasing everything that he was doing, but I didn't have the emotional connection that the first one presented.
yeah, I get that. I totally get that.
Mhm. Um, and to a similar extent, the next documentary short is "Children No More Were and Are Gone." It follows in Tel Aviv. Activists gather weekly to demonstrate their opposition to the war in Gaza with a silent visual for the children killed in the Israel attacks. Uh, Good.
Well, I was just gonna say that I thought it was a really interesting documentary, just showing the vigils in Israel about the Palestinian children who are being killed during this war. I think
Yes.
what was really interesting is seeing people's responses because they made it a point to show you in the film that they weren't going to say anything because then there's something that has to do with permits because then it becomes political speech, something along those facts. So they made it a point that these were only silent vigils. So they're just showing pictures of dead kids, of people who
Mhm.
have been killed. But what was interesting is people like were like attacking them and like yelling at them and like just screaming at them and just being like saying these so triggered like you know they're like I don't think I think that that means that Israel shouldn't defend themselves, but at the same time it's just a signal that to them it's just a signal that what they're doing is going too far, and I'm not here to decide. I just think it's really interesting that we have this silent vigil and that so many people were adverse to them because they think that they are against the war, which they are. But they made it a point to be silent and not just outright say anything to just hear. Let's just point to this one fact. This is a vigil for the children who have died, but a picture says 1,000 words, and that one picture details what they really feel without them having to say anything. And I think it just speaks volumes.
Yeah. Yeah, and clearly that people were like they knew where they were going because even there was a conversation of like, oh, if we go here, we might get more resistance here. Like we have been playing it safe by going to these locations. And I liked like the organizer kind of being very like kind of communicating very efficiently of exactly what the purpose of all this is like. Don't react to people coming in. You're here to hold a photo. You are a standee for these photos, and for all the children who have been dying in this war. And I just thought it was an interesting way to protest it because a picture does says 1,000 words, and you not saying anything, like all you're doing is standing there, with the photo, and yet you're getting these reactions out of people. And I to me, I think it's a powerful message of like what what a single protest can spark into people, but also what an effective way of like kind of getting your message across. I guess in this case, good or bad, because obviously they had to move from their location because people were getting a little bit violent um to the protesters. At least they were like being verbally aggressive. But I think this was a very it's a very simple way to get your message across, and it was
Hmm.
very, like to me, it was very powerful of, like, this type of, like, protest. because like it's just silent. It's not like people are kind of going there with microphones and like going out into courthouses and being, I wouldn't say loud isn't the right word, but just being vocal. Um and like just like making sure your voice is heard. And so instead of trying to, tell the world, you are just informing the people who are standing right in front of you, in mass numbers. So I really I thought this documentary was really effective. Like I thought it drove the point very clearly.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. All right, so now we move on to The Devil is Busy. And at an Atlanta abortion clinic besieged by protesters, the director of operations takes necessary risks to safeguard staff and patients. And I thought it was interesting to kind of see to see exactly that, to see the day in the life, to see what they go through. I think the one part that really stuck out to me is when she's talking about the people who are protesting on the street, and I believe she said that there was a guy. She's like, that guy who's out here judging everybody. He like burned a church down, or he like hurt somebody. She's like, I forget exactly what she said, but I thought it was really interesting. She's like, he did all these awful things, but yet he's sitting here judging these people getting the help,
Yeah.
getting the help that they need, to make
Yeah.
this
And he was
difficult
like,
decision
I
in their life.
repented. So
Yeah,
then everything that you did was excusable because you repented, but you're saying that, these people are just devil worshippers. Like it's a double standard that
yeah,
you're kind of preaching.
yeah. It's really awful when people try to use religion to like for that purpose, like for
Yes.
using it as a way to like push your agenda,
Yeah.
along for whatever that is. Like, who are you to judge? Obviously, you're not as good as anybody else. Like, look at these awful things that you did.
Right. And it was interesting, like even like when they were protesting, it was like, it's in the Bible. It's not me saying it, it's Jesus. Jesus said in the Bible, you can read it. Here's the verse. And then like the woman that we're following, the director of operations, she was like, the yes, the text is written, but it's under the interpretation of the person who's reading it.
Mm,
And is like, yes, that is 100% true. Like you are perceiving that piece of text in a completely different way than another person of how they would read it. But yet you are preaching your version, your interpretation of the text to others
yeah,
that is putting out negativity out there. And she was even saying like it's hard to come day in and out just hearing this surroundings of negativity, not only from the protesters, but for the people that are coming in here because they already feel ashamed for coming in here, even though, and the operations, the director of operations woman was explaining that, this was a safe space and, you were making the decision that works for you. Everything else is just noise out there.
mm,
And I think it was interesting of like being surrounded by this world of, and this small space of negativity, but coming inside to kind of reinsure that, if this is a choice you want to make, this is the choice that's right for you, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I feel like you said, the day in the life of like what these people have to go through was a very interesting, like kind of fly on the wall
yeah.
type of like oh, okay, this is what you have to go through every day. This is not an easy job
No,
to come to every day.
that's a hard life you signed up for. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, she's there all day. She has to get there early in the morning. Has to do all these precautions to make sure people are safe. I mean, that's scary. That's scary for her.
Yeah. Like that is like she is doing a job that not a lot of people can do. And I feel like and it's she's like at this point it feels like she's not getting recognition
Yeah,
or like her due is like, I'm sure you're not getting paid a butt ton of money
yeah,
in order to
yeah.
to
That's
do
true.
this job. It's not like you're living the high life on this, but you're also doing an important service. And she's taking it very seriously, as she should.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I found that aspect of it very interesting because it was less about why people were going into the abortion clinic, but it was more of how that clinic is being run
Yeah,
on a daily basis and the kind of the the issues that they kind of are presented every day. And even the phone calls they have to answer for people who are trying to go to this clinic and the people over on the other side of the phone have to explain to them reasons why that they cannot offer their services because of XYZ reason. And so she was saying, and that's a hard part of her job. And then also they go to some of the healthcare workers who have limitations on what they can and cannot do
Mhm.
depending on the state laws, which was also interesting to hear about that as well. So again, another documentary that I felt like it was really well put together.
Yeah, 100%. And then there's this one. So we have there's always one. This is called Perfectly Estrangeness. In a dazzling incandescence of an unknown desert, 3 donkeys discover an abandoned astronomical observatory and the universe, a sensorial cinematic exploration of what a story can be. This
That's
shit
that's
this shit,
bullshit.
yeah, this shit was weird. I watched it. I didn't really understand. I was like, these donkeys are walking through this observatory. They're looking at the stars. I mean, I guess I got nothing. I got nothing on this one. It was weird. It was pretty. I mean, there were some of the shots they showed of the sky and stuff. It was just cinematically, it was just pretty to look at, but it just didn't make any sense to me.
I am so confused that this is a documentary. Because you would have told me this was a short film, a live action short. Okay, I hear you. I get it. But like, were you following these donkeys? Have these donkeys found their way inside the observatory? Also, did they open it up
Yeah, exactly.
to like what? What is this? I 100% agree with you. Each short each short film category that we've had so far has a what the fuck is this
Yeah, this
in
is
it.
that one.
For animated shorts, it was the Three Sisters for me. For live action short, it was The Singers, and for documentary short, it's Perfectly Estranged. I don't get it, and I'm not going to try to understand it because it doesn't feel like a documentary. I don't know what you're
No.
documenting.
Yeah, correct. Unless
Also,
you just open the door like, go ahead, donkeys. Here, follow me the camera. Look, oh, they're looking at the stars.
and then like, did you open up the observatory? Did you get clearance for these people so then that you can get a really interesting shot of really closed in shot, a zoomed in shot of a donkey's eye
Yeah.
seeing the observatory open into the night sky?
It's like, hold that donkey in place. It's like trying to get out of. It's like trying to. I just want to drink water. All right. I mean, it was weird.
This
I don't
was
get it.
this was dumb.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was purely dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's just not.
Yeah. I'm
It's
already
it's
done.
not worth talking about. I don't know. It's not. There's nothing there. There's nothing there for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. So on that note, we're gonna go ahead and move on to documentary features.
Well, hold on. Before let's wrap up with the whole as a whole for documentary short real quick.
Okay.
So what? Which one did you feel like that kind of hit you the most after watching these 5 documentaries?
Well, I thought we were saving that for predictions. Are we doing that now?
No. That's the predictions of who you think is going to win. I'm just asking which one you think, like this one, because which one you liked and what you think is going to win are 2 different conversations.
Okay, that's fair. I think the one that hit me the hardest was probably All the Empty Rooms.
Yeah, I think to me, which one that I think it drove its message very clearly and effectively was probably All the Empty Rooms as number 1, and then the second one probably being The Devil is Busy.
Mm.
I think for me between those 2, like more than the others, I feel like it's, and then I think as a third probably Children No More.
Yeah.
But to me, Children No More and All the Empty Rooms are very similar in their messaging. Like they're basically highlighting kids that were kind of taken too soon on different, different factions, one at war, one in school shootings, but
Yeah.
the
Very
same
true.
principle.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, I think between those 2 and then the other one, between those 3, I feel like they really fine tune what their message was and really kind of drove it home. So for me, I think those were like the top for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm in the same boat as you for 1, 2, and
Yeah.
3.
But okay, now let's dive into our documentary featured films. And again, the nominees are The Alabama Solution, Come See Me in the Good Light, Cutting Through Rocks, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and The Perfect Neighbor. So before we dive into the other four, let's go back and talk about The Perfect Neighbor. Again, since it's something we've already discussed. In a previous episode. But it's kind of just a brief overview of your thoughts again on this documentary.
Okay, so for those who don't know, The Perfect Neighbor is about a minor disagreement between neighbors in Florida. It actually took place here in Marion County. Takes a lethal turn with the police bodies cameras footage and interviews probing the aftermath of the state's controversial stand your ground laws. I mean, we talked about it when we did like a mini review on it
Hmm.
already, and I thought it was fantastic. I think the way it's constructed, I think the way they've constructed all the footage and how they laid it out, it just plays out like a narrative. Like it really worked. I think you really get a fully understanding of what exactly happened to this poor lady.
Yeah, I think what really stands out most in this documentary is that all the footage that was taken is through
Hmm.
police body cam, and everything that was kind of that they basically retrieved. There wasn't any there wasn't any like voiceovers. There
Hmm.
wasn't, overly explained like word on text. I think there were maybe like one or two
It's like a title
like
card at the
text on
end.
black background, like something in the beginning and something at the end. But everything else was just presenting the facts given the footage that was presented to them. So they put it all together and they pretty much put it in chronological order. They didn't really, kind of uh they didn't edit it in a way where you're like seeing one thing over the other, but it was very much you're seeing it as it happened and you're letting the viewer decide how to react to it. It's not like them telling you
Yeah,
how and what way to feel
yeah,
and what message that they were trying to present. It was like, here are the facts. And then how do you we presented the facts. Now you determine how you want to feel about this particular situation.
yeah.
And I
Totally
think they did
agree.
a really good job doing that.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it was an incredible documentary. I don't know if I can go back and rewatch it,
Mhm.
but it was incredibly effective.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, but we go into a deeper dive on it. I don't know exactly which episode it was, but
I'll
it was
tag it.
definitely in a previous episode. We did a more deep dive on this documentary.
I will if you're watching on YouTube. I will tag that video. Will be tagged overhead.
Okay. So with that, let's dive into the other documentary features that we have now talked about. And the first one we'll discuss is the Alabama Solution, which follows incarcerated men defy the odds to explore a cover up in one of the United States' most deadliest prison systems. This was a wild document.
That is my exact description for what this documentary is. That shit is, it is wild to see all the shit that went on in the prison system, and just kind of like this corruption that's kind of inbred throughout. I mean, I think the one thing that stood out to me the most was the officer who got promoted like 3 or 4
Mm,
times after he beat that inmate to death, and then you're watching the interview of them talking about it, and you can almost like see a smirk on his face,
yeah.
like if he's like remembering the memory of like beating this poor man. I mean, granted, he's a human being. You're like smiling about like literally beating to death, like looking at the picture, it's like, oh, I don't know who that is. It's like looks like he got a beating or something. I forgot what he says, but he says something to that effect.
Yeah. Well, he was like, yeah, he died, but I mean, I'm not sure how he got those concussions.
It's like that's
Like
from
he
you.
it was just denying,
Yeah, and
like
it's like
everything.
you don't remember beating the shit out of somebody until they die. Like, come
He
on
was like,
now.
"Yeah, I'm not a use excessive force, but like I don't, going like that's like an over exaggeration of what happened." Like, and I'm like, but a man is dead
Yeah,
under your watch. So how do you explain that? And then it's crazy because then they go through all these legal processes, and then it gets swept under the rug.
yeah. And then like
And
moving to the strike and like seeing like all the prisons kind of come together, and then slowly the support just kind of dissolved, kind of just like went up the mountain, like everybody was there, and then slowly but surely everybody started to fall off. And it's kind of like very, we've used this word a lot today, but it's very heartbreaking to me. The craziest thing I saw was it was the reporters interviewing the governor, and they said, "Is it true? Are you going to use the money for education to build more prisons?" She goes, "Sure." It's like, what? Like you just openly admit that shit? Like, "Oh yeah, we're going to take money away from kids and we're going to build more prisons."
well, what's crazy about the uh, it's an Alabama problem. It's going to be an Alabama solution. I mean, that's basically what the
Yeah.
title of this documentary is. And to me, what's crazy was that the inmates were like they were talking about difficult living situations, and they're just beating people up for no reason, and it's just horrible situation that they're put into. The cleanliness in there is just shot, and so their decision is also is getting overly crowded. People are like sleeping in cots on the in the hallways, don't even have their own like room or whatever. Like the human decency and the respect is just completely thrown out the window. And all the footage that you're seeing is from the inmates inside the prison. Like they're just sneaking in a whole bunch of phones, and they realize that cell phones are a problem in there. But the people who are giving them the cell phones, and they said in the documentary, are most likely the guards are smuggling the phones because they're not going past security. But then when you get caught with the phone, you get beaten for it. So it's this vicious cycle that they're kind of put themselves into. And then like, there was an interesting moment where he was like, "I'm gonna film, like, are you sure you just wanna do this over the phone?" He's like, "No, I need people to see me. I need people to see this. Like, otherwise, I want them to see my face and not just a voice, because for them, it hits harder. Like, you get to see this human connection. Like, I need you to see who I am in order to do that." And also, like, the way that they had to, like, sneak in with these interviews. And it was also crazy to hear that. He's like, "All right, if I say okay, if you hear this, you got to stop talking, all right?" It was like super serious. And she was like, "Okay." And then like you heard the word, and he's like brought the phone down, and it's like, "Don't say anything." And then like the guards came through and everything is like, "All right, I think we're clear." And it's like wild. A wild way of living.
Crazy. And isn't it it's crazy to see how it started, because if I remember correctly, like they went there for another event, and while they were there, that event got shut down because like a lot of the inmates started talking to the videographer crew about
Yes.
what's going on. And that kind of like that one, it's crazy how one thing just kind of leads to another.
Yeah, and they were like, "Yeah, they don't want us to eat the food or anything," or like they want us to come out, so like you're kind of playing nice to the cameras and to the event, but then once you get your food, you got to go back in. Like they don't want you to like mingle and like don't enjoy yourself. Where this is all pretend. Like
Yeah.
we're all just showing face to this party. Not really party, but more like this event that they were all
Yeah.
kind of participating in. Um but yeah, and then going back to the governor, where she was like trying to address all these problems, and like we have too many people in the prisoners, like we have too many inmates, and the prisons are being crowded. So they said that we're the crazy thought process of like we have 11 prisons, and they're also being decapitated. So my solution to this problem is that we're going to build 3 mega prisons and put them all in there. So it's newer, and it's doing all this stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Like you're pushing 11 separate prisons into 3 quote unquote mega prisons, and you think that's going to solve your capacity problem? That's not how that works.
I don't think you know how numbers work. It's like,
And then it's just crazy, like the billions of dollars that's going to go into it. And to your point, to say, yeah, we're just going to take it from the education fund to build these massive prisons, and then it starts the vicious cycle again. Now you have other people, and you have parents. It's like, wait, you're gonna take away from our education budget so you can fund inmates like living. They don't deserve better living. They're inmates. They deserve to be in prison. It's just a vicious cycle that they go into.
I think the other thing that was really wild is like during the strike, you're getting voiceover from different radio stations, and it's like morning radio. You know, they kind of make fun,
Yes.
poking fun at like news highlights, and it was incredibly cringy to hear these people like talking about the prisoners, like yeah, they're in prison for committing a crime, but they're serving their time, and we're expected to treat them with a certain level of dignity and respect. It's not like they're running away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these people are in
Yeah.
prison trying to live, trying to do their time, trying to hopefully make their lives better. Like, prison is supposed to be a place of rehabilitation. So, but when you talk about when you talk about them like that, like making fun of them, like, oh, you're prisoners. Well, what did you think? You shouldn't have broke the law if you didn't think that it was gonna happen. It's like, come on, man.
Right.
Like, you can be better than that. Like, it's easy for you to judge on your high throne.
Right. And also on your platform of a radio station.
Exactly.
I was like, and to your point, it's just like what are these prisoners fighting for? They don't have they don't have any rights. Like, they're in prison. Like, just do your job, and what else are you doing? And it's just cruel because then you have like their retaliation instead of actually listening, or just respecting on why they're even protesting in the first place. They're like, we're just gonna starve them. They're gonna come back because they want food.
It's
It's
like,
like it's crazy, and like that they have the upper hand. It's like, yeah, they're holding out the food. Like, yeah, we were able to stash food for a couple of days, but that only lasts you for so long. And then they're like, yeah, they're just gonna hold out the food, and eventually they're all gonna end the protest and get back to work. Because, and also another crazy thing that they highlighted in the documentary was that like a certain level of like workforce that they're getting for free is like 40%.
mm-hmm.
And so they're not even
Yeah.
paying these inmates to do these jobs that they are out there in society fulfilling for free.
Yeah, that, I think, to me, that was that notion, that fact that they highlight, the fact that you incarcerate us because you say we're not safe to be around the public, but you pay us pennies on the dollars and then just pay us to be out there out there in the
Yeah,
public with all these people, but yet you still want to
yeah,
treat us this way.
yes. And also paying, like, there was one shot that I thought, again, that I think they were like maybe a janitor at a zoo, and
Mm.
then like he's like trying to like he's like comforting children in like a situation like, oh, do you want to see the bird, do you want to see this, here, like, look, go pet whatever. And it's like this is the harm to society. Like, people are just trying to just do their best out here. Yes, they committed a crime, and yes, there's a version of them that you kind of they're doing their time. Like, I think a lot of them then they were highlighting is like, we understand what we did was wrong, and that's what we're here for. We're here to be better people, but to be treated like this is not acceptable. And they're 100% correct.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Very,
There
very
was
effective documentary. Like, this one
and,
was solid.
and also very visceral too. It's like,
Yes.
because they were just showing you some things where you're just like, damn, like this is real. Like,
Yeah.
I think you say it a lot. We're like, you think you have problems?
I
You don't
do.
have problems.
This one was like, wow, I don't have any fucking problems. I actually, like, I watched it and I go, wow, my life is really good. Like, I don't have,
Yeah.
I literally don't have shit to complain about. That's what that's
Yes,
what I thought about
seriously.
as soon as I finished this documentary. It's like, wow, I don't got shit to complain about. I need to
And also,
I need to quit my bitching is what I need to do. I mean, how do you walk out of this documentary and not think that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It was also crazy. The other person, like, they were trying to interview other inmates to get more clarity on what was going on with the other inmate that happened to
mm,
that died in prison, like we were talking about earlier. And nobody wanted to talk to them because they realized if they quote unquote snitch, then they would, either get hurt or get killed themselves. And there was another heartbreaking one that there was the guy that was on the phone.
yep.
He's like, he was like basically reading a script, and he was like, "I get out in a few days, man. I'm not saying shit. If once I get out and the mother wants to talk to me, I'll tell her anything she wants to hear." And that's what got him killed.
Yeah, and then he fucking died. Like, how
He died.
like that's crazy. That's like some shit out of a movie. Like he
And they
literally,
said due to natural causes.
yeah, naturally getting your ass beat to death. Like, I mean, it's not funny, but it's
No.
like you know what I mean. Like that shit is
Yeah.
crazy. Like that. Like he didn't even say anything. He just made a promise to tell her something, and that's what got him killed.
Yes. Just so word doesn't get out. And that's the corrupt nature that they were highlighting in this prison system.
And this is just what they showed us. This is not
Yes.
who know. There's probably way more horrific situations surrounding this that just either weren't included, happened before, happened after. Like this is just a glimpse of what it's like there. That's the
Yeah.
crazy part. This is just what's
And
documented.
it is what just documented. It's not like the documentary ended with a hopeful note.
No, not
It
at all.
it just ended like here's where we left off. And basically at the end of the day, it's like we're still trying to fight the good fight. And you're just like, damn.
Damn. It's like shit's still rough. Roll the credits. Like that's basic. This is our life.
Yes.
Like it's like once again, I don't have problems. These people have real problems.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. All right.
All right, let's
move on to the
shift gears, not by much, but this is
we're going into like second to third gear.
yeah. This is not as horrific, but equally this can be just as sad to look at. So facing
100%.
an incurable let me try that again. Facing an incurable diagnosis, two poet lovers embark on a poignant yet unexpectedly humorous exploration of love, mortality, and life's moments. And I felt like this one was a little bit more lighthearted. But it's still
Yes.
very sad. We're following Andrea and her partner, and she's dealing with battling cancer. Um, it kind of ends hopeful, but you don't get the update about her death. But then I did some research and I found out that the documentary had actually finished wrapping before her death. They even went to go see it premiere at Sundance. They saw it premiere when it came to Sundance. So the and then she died a couple of months later. I think the premiere was like in the beginning of the year, and then she died like in June or July of 2025. So
Yes.
it is
Yeah.
like if you don't know that she's dead, it comes off as a little bit more hopeful, which I understand. To live your life to the fullest. Don't live with any regrets. This one was definitely on the lighter side of amongst all these other documentaries. So it was it was a little refreshing to kind of have this as like even though it is still very sad, it was kind of
It's
like
still very sad. Though.
very sad. It was kind of like a palate cleanse.
Yeah, I don't know if you said the title, but this is "Come See Me in the Good Light" is the documentary that we're talking about, and to say that this is lighter but still sad. And the first thing I did once this documentary was over was look to see if she was still alive, like almost instantly as the credits started rolling.
Same.
And to me, my heart sank when I found out that she had passed away. Like at this point, at the time of watching it, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. Like I literally said that. I was like, fuck. Like that's rough. And I thought that did a really sweet, emotional, and profound way of showcasing someone kind of just trying to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
And like some days are good, some days are bad, but we still got things we want to do and we're going to try to do our best. And I think kind of highlighting like her journey of wanting to like be a poet and kind of getting their life story there, and then after that like seeing how they were uh performing, and then like performing in front of a crowd and like performing their speeches, and then kind of see that after a point in her life where they think they weren't going to perform again, and then they found the strength to do that. And that was kind of like the bookend of the documentary, is like finally getting to perform in front of a crowd for one last time, and seeing the overwhelmingly response from the crowd of watching someone they kind of admired and grow up with, and and was a fan of, and it to me, that felt like an extreme special moment, when they were performing their art in front of a crowd. And I feel like that in a way that's like this was like a full circle moment for them and something they didn't feel like they weren't going to do again. Um, and I feel like it was the way that they presented this documentary just felt with so much love and so much like care and like really just describing feelings in the moment. And it was extremely sad. And to your point, there was a level of hopefulness by the end of it because they did not tell you that she had died, but technically at the point of this documentary, she didn't. So now, like, I was interested to see that they never included that, like even like they had passed away on this date, and I think they wanted to keep the ending hopeful, and then really hit you with a gut punch when you go just searching to see if they're still alive, and they were not. Um, and so like to me, it just shows life can have meaning if you do it, and also just spend time with the people you love because that's what it matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. What matters is your relationships. Like all the this your ego and all the things that you want to achieve. Like those things matter to a certain point.
Yeah,
Like all those things
and
matter until you get sick, and then the only thing that matters is you getting better. You don't literally don't give a shit about anything else.
no, and I guess they were lucky enough that they were probably somewhat able to afford
Yeah.
a lot of the treatment that they had to go through because even they were like, "I'll do anything." Like I like they were even saying that they were risk losing their own voice in order to like to be better.
Yeah.
And then you get that little glimmer of hope that things were getting better, like the treatment's working. And then you saw that it spread again. And then it just like you're seeing those up and down moments where like you're getting a little bit of a win and then you have to cherish that because you don't know how long you're going to have it.
Hmm.
And I think it's just an interesting view of someone going through the up and downs of their life and then ultimately like you know losing their life uh due to the cancer.
Yeah.
It's extremely sad,
Very
but
sad.
I think it's really profound, and I thought it was a beautiful way of looking at it, of
Yeah.
looking at death and the upcomingness to death. And in a way, and this was a documentary, but it really much reminded me of Dying for Sex. It felt I was getting that
A
type
little
of
bit.
feelings
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. Just kind of you want to take care of the things before you pass on, like kind of
Hmm.
your bucket list almost. And
Yeah,
hers was doing that last show.
yeah. But yeah, really, really heartfelt. That was very sad.
Yeah. All right. So
Moving on to the next documentary is Cutting Through Rocks. It's followed as the first elected councilwoman of the Iranian village. Sarah Suaverde aim to break long held traditions by training teenage girls to ride motorcycles and stop child marriages. When accusations arrive questioning Sarah's intentions to empower the girls, her identity is put in turmoil. This is a very interesting documentary.
yeah, I mean, because we're looking at a whole other society, but then like you look at it and you're like, how is this? This is current. Like this is something that's
Yeah.
currently happening, and yeah, it's just kind of wild to see that in this day and age that they're just getting their first woman on the council, and then when she goes to help out that girl who was forced into marriage at 12. I mean, that part was wild. And then when she goes to the judge or whatever and tells he's 23 years older, and then the judge is like, it is what it is. Why is it only taking you 4 years for you to question your marriage? And
Yes.
she's only, so mind you, she's 16. So she's
Yeah.
still a child. She's still a minor. And that's how they talk to her. Well, how do you want to make a bad situation worse? Like these are people talking them into staying into child marriages. Like, isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah, that dialogue was nuts. Is like, well, in our perspective, I you think you're too young to be married. We think you're too young to be questioning your decisions at a young age. I think when you get older, you realize that you made a good decision. And so it's like, I think don't like run into things that you will regret later in life. And it's like,
What?
what?
Isn't that wild to think that these are people this is people's realities. We don't have any people complain about shit here, but we don't have any of that shit here. That shit would
Yeah,
not fucking fly here. Like, get
yeah,
the fuck out of here. Like, that is wild that it's just now that they're seeing some glimpse of change, and look how opposed to it. And what was even crazier is that this whole fucking thing erupted to them asking her if she needed to get a sex change because her perception was that she was too manly and that she must be having an issue with her identity, that she can't just be a strong woman that doesn't take shit from nobody. That's the part that I was like they took it that far.
yes. And like, the crazy part about all this is like their level of thinking. They think they're completely in the right here.
Yes.
Like, and they like they're going to this extra lengths, and it's almost like they know exactly what they're doing, and they're just trying to keep the status quo.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
It's what it is. 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
you get a good sense of that when she's yelling at, I think it's her brother in the beginning
Hmm.
about her sisters all signing that paperwork. And when she
Yes.
calls him out, he's like, "Well, it was their fault. They shouldn't have signed it. They should have known
Yeah.
better." It's like, isn't that your fucking sister? Like, what the like what isn't don't you have a sense of family and of belonging to the people who are you consider family? Like, how
Yeah.
crazy is that?
Yeah, it's just the spin on the like, they didn't have to sign it. Like, it sounds like you
What?
forced them to sign
Yeah,
it.
you made them sign it, and especially in this kind of society, like they're probably not ones to question stuff like that. They just do it
Yeah,
because they want to
right.
make it better. Or like
And there's also
the whole thing with the whole thing with them giving half of the land, her using the gas to give half of the land to the women, and some of the women's like, well, I've lived so many years and like everything's be okay. Like I don't want to like almost like I don't want to stir the pot. It's
right, yeah,
what about your rights? Like, what don't you think you deserve more? Like, if your husband dies, then you get nothing. You
yeah,
literally get nothing, and it's like her trying to enact this little bit of change caused so much turmoil.
yes. And it was interesting is because, like, they were all complaining about having gas into their house, and, like, she's fulfilling that request.
Yeah,
But you also have to go through the proper channels in order to do that. I don't think they had to make sure that your wives were involved into this, but it was definitely a stipulation
hmm
that would make your life easier and it would be able to get gas in order to prove ownership. Because I think that was something along those lines that if you couldn't prove ownership, then you have to go through another channels of doing that. And that included if you had a spouse to be included into that process. Like you just have to register because there's no previous documentation that you own this house. So if you wanted to register for it, something along those lines. I could be completely wrong and talking out of my ass, but that's the way I understood it. But if you go through a different registration system, then you have to include everyone who's living in your house, which is
yeah,
your spouse, and then you can get your gas into it. And it's kind of crazy where like the guy kind of walked up and he was like, "Hey, councilwoman, I don't have gas in my house." I was like, "Well, yeah, you have to do this." He's like, "I can't do that." I was like, "Well, I guess you ain't getting gas in your house."
I guess it's not that important to you.
You're right. I thought that was kind of crazy to see that. And then they're like having like this kind of this party in a way of like like they were saying we were able to get like 100 homes to sign with their spouses. And that was like a huge accomplishment that she was doing. And it was crazy that she was making active change in her community,
Yeah,
but it was too progressive for what she was doing in the times. And she was just trying to get people up to speed.
yeah,
Like, let alone like probably few villages down the road or just in a different country altogether, they were operating on a different system here. But yet she's just trying to build playgrounds and trying to do this and trying to do that, and their community was not allowing her to to make the progressive change that needed to be in that community.
yeah. It just seems like they
And
wanted to spend time fucking with her. Like
yeah,
like when she was having I think it was the park and the gas station constructed. Like they changed the shape and pissed, and then she went up there
yes,
and started yelling at him. Like, yeah, I'd be yelling too, but this is not what I said. Like, why are you changing my shit?
yeah. And then they were like, you should give the stamp back. I think this she gets the official stamp to make the final changes on here. And she was like, these are the rules. Like, I got the highest amount of votes. I
Yeah.
get the stamp. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
go
you're not
fuck
fit.
yourself.
You're not fit for the stamp. Give me back the stamp. And they're like, and they're not giving any reasons either. It's like, just give it to me. You don't deserve it anymore. Just give it to me. And they're like, no, no, I earned this. What are you talking about? The people wanted me in this position, and I'm trying to do my best here, and you're making this harder.
These are fucking adults.
Yes,
These are
yes,
adult.
these are adults.
These are supposed adults who are
And
thinking
you have
what they doing what they think what they believe is best.
right, and then you also have other women in the community who are just telling her, "It's like, hey, just stop causing trouble. Like, what are you doing causing trouble? Like, just give him the stamp. Give him the stamp. That's what he wants. Give him the stamp." And she was like, "No, no, I'm not doing that because this is the right thing to do. I went through the proper channels to be in the good public eye. I'm trying to make good change here." And then it's kind of crazy. At the end of the day, she had to resign.
Yeah.
Had to resign, and then it was like this semi hopeful ending point to the documentary where she was like, sometimes you strive to make big change, but I was able to make a little one. And that sometimes is good enough. And I was like, damn.
Yep, something's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I think at some point she realized that she just had to concede
Yeah.
because they weren't ready for it. But yet you see like she's getting all these little girls into motorcycles and like, but we can also do this too.
But I like that because the documentary used that as a point of like, because when she was teaching the first girl, like she
Yes.
explained her experience and how it made her feel invincible, giving her that feel that she could accomplish anything. So then, you know, maybe she enacted that little bit of change, but maybe she can continue to inspire young women to be the next generation of what she started.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah. And you can tell she's very much like a lone wolf
yeah.
in this scenario. She's trying to inspire the girls. Another heartbreaking scene there is where like she went into that school and it was,
Oh, yeah.
it was a school full of girls and like typically the normal practice that you stop going to school after a certain age and then you just start focusing on getting married. And then she had all those kids and all those little girls sign a piece of paper saying you will not do like underage marriage. And then a couple months later she comes back and she realized that more than half of those kids are already in marriages.
Yeah.
And that's just like the expectations that you marry young and then all your life is to just have children and care for them and then move on. Like that's all you are.
Yeah, I don't understand it. That's just culturally I just don't get it. I
Yeah.
you know, I like to have respect for other people, but there's certain aspects of that just don't sit right with me. So
100%. And also they even showcase like they don't want them to have any higher learning because they want them to keep them in their place. So like most women in that area are operating off of like a middle school ish level of education.
yeah, if
And
at
then
all.
after that, they're like, okay, now it's time to you to get married and you don't learn anything else. And it's only the lucky few who can kind of like as the kind of the end of the point of the documentary is like kind of spark a new generation of people and young women who can kind of take what she started and push it into the next generation.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. That this was a very interesting documentary, kind of an eye-opening one for me
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I was kind of glad we were able to get our hands on it. You know, this is one of the ones we were missing.
Yeah, this one was getting a little difficult, but don't worry,
We got
prevailed.
it.
We got it.
All right, so then finally we have Mr. Nobody against Putin. A Russian teacher secretly documents his small town school's transformation into a war recruitment center during the Ukraine invasion, revealing the ethical dilemmas educators face amid propaganda and militarization. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really, really interesting, especially like kind of seeing a little bit of the before, and then once the war started, to see the complete shift in what the school had to turn it basically like pro war propaganda machines. You know, how the teachers they loved him at first, and then everybody kind of slowly backed away from him. Even like it was like a kind of divide between him and his mom.
Yeah.
I mean, and just to see that even there, you know, like we don't get very many glimpses of what's happening there, and to see the media anti-war propaganda, like the one that really got me was the anchor behind the desk, like the one anchor's reading the news and somebody behind them is holding up like like
Yes.
anti-war poster behind her until they got her off. I was like, that's fucking crazy. Like, you, like walking into the studio and seeing some shit like that. It's like, wow, that's wild. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like I think both uh, Mission Nobody against Putin um and the documentary short No Children No More were and are gone were showcasing inside the country in which the war was started from.
yes.
Like we're seeing like there's like this stipulation where you think, okay, now oh the basically if the Russians are invading Ukraine, then all Russians are bad because they all agree to this military like they all are in opposition of the war or in favor of the war. That's like this unfair uh perception
Hmm.
that we can perceive, but not but then this very much like just like all the stuff, there's always people in there that don't agree with what they're doing. And this is showcasing one of them and how in this case how a teacher is documenting how the school is slowly being transformed into like this like we're just now breeding our kids to want to go to war. And it's kind of sad to see that as I mean, he was highlighting it himself as like this used to be a place of love and like free speech and we're able to kind of grow these young minds into, careers they want to be. And then all of a sudden it was just, nope, we need to push these kids to want to go to war and help us out in this war. And that's what it has to
I also thought it was interesting how he did show a little bit of some of how people who do think like that in Russia. Like we got a view of the teacher, and he was like, "Oh, who are your heroes?" And then like
be. Oh
he
yes.
started listing them off, and then he's listed off like all the crazy shit that these guys did, and like and how like there were people over there who idolize them. They look at them as heroes of their country, but it's but what's interesting, and I feel like it reflects the light back at us, like how many people like do the people in Japan like when they talk about Hiroshima, do they don't look at us as heroes. They look at us as
Right.
like the people who bombed their country. You know what I mean? Like so
Yeah.
it's interesting. So to me it was kind of reflective back at us like who do we perceive as heroes that maybe other countries in the world look at them as like atrocious people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this guy, in a way, when he was building this documentary, was kind of making fun of him a little bit. Where he was like, because like he won the award for like best teacher in his
Yes.
community, and
Yes.
he was like, the best teacher should be the one who is caring for the students, being their best interest, and always here for and trying to put them in a good light, whatever his description was. And then they said, best teacher goes to this guy, and you're like, yeah,
That
this
guy.
guy won best teacher. And now he was like then they show him like him going into his new apartment because I guess that's what you win, an apartment, which
Oh
is
yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Like here, you get
It's
this extra place to live. It's like, I don't
right.
need that.
And and then and then he goes, "I might not show it, but I am happy." It's just like a straight face.
Yes, it's like,
And I was like, "This isn't supposed to be funny, but you edited this."
and it's funny
I
now.
think I know exactly what you were doing. And also he had a little bit of sense of humor to him as well. But he was also showcasing that he was trying to protest in the middle of all this and then actively kind of putting himself out there, making his whole community know that he is not for this war. But I think like, in a way he was putting himself in danger because you're also actively trying to film uh like what's happening. So if you're secretly filming this, I the last thing I think you would want is to put yourself in the spotlight.
Yeah,
Like
maybe
in a negative manner like that in your country.
like didn't he literally play Lady Gaga singing the American national anthem?
Yeah, and not
Or
that
God
like they
Bless
didn't know
America?
about it. They knew it was him.
Or was it God Bless America? It was one of the two.
One of the two. But yeah, but they knew it was him. And they were like, "Hey, you got to stop doing it." And so you'd think there'd be like maybe harsher repercussions to that, but there wasn't, thankfully to him. And then at the end of the day, which is kind of crazy, where he was like, "Yeah," and then he secretly left the country with all that footage. And then it turned into a documentary that we saw today. Like you can tell that he knows that this weight and him being in this country, he couldn't do it anymore. Like it was against his morals and his like it was interesting to see like because we also got a couple of like his talking heads, like him talking to the camera and kind of showcasing how he was feeling about certain situations and the hardship that he was going through personally of not only filming this but kind of just living in it
Yeah.
in a place that he no longer wants to be involved with anymore. Like he can't. He like in some cases, like they were just telling you you're dishonoring your country, you're committing treason. Um, but he's just trying to showcase the truth and what he believes is right, and he doesn't think that these children deserve this.
Yeah.
Um, and I another interesting document, an interesting, retrospect of what's kind of going on in the world. And I think with all these documentaries, it just showcases like, and it just kind of puts you in a position, like you said it before. Like we don't have problems. There are so many like with these problems and so much more that are happening in the world right now. And I think what a lot of these documentaries highlight is that, and it gives us an opportunity to kind of just reflect in our own lives and see the other, I guess, problems that are happening around the world that you would otherwise kind of be shielded from.
Yeah.
Like we're not actively seeking out these documents. So like because of it's with the Oscars, we were kind of put ourselves in a position where we're not forcing ourselves, but like this is part of the journey that we're going to the Oscars, and part of which is like here to me, this feels like here is the Academy's version of the best documentaries that kind of hone ins on their message and executes it in a way that is worth an award. Um, and I find that it was all of them were really interesting. Like I
Yeah.
don't think there was a bad documentary in the bunch.
Yeah, I totally agree. They're all really good. Some very horrible, some very sad. I mean, I remember there were some last year that I was like, "What? Like, what is this?"
Yeah, I
But I felt
agree.
like this year the
Agreed.
documentaries this year were very solid. So out of all these, which one hits you the most?
That's a hard question because I feel like I walked away feeling something out of every documentary. Like I feel like
Mm,
their message kind of hit home and I was
yeah,
able to take something out of it. Where some of them I didn't feel that, like if I didn't feel that way. And I feel like some messages were stronger than others, like in other categories. But this one, to me, this is a tough category. I'm
yeah,
feeling impartial to the perfect neighbor because that's probably the first one. It was getting the most attention and it was definitely effective in its storytelling. The only one that doesn't drive home a message.
mm,
Like it's the only one that's factual. Every one of them is definitely driving home their own agenda to it. Like the documentary is more or less telling you how to feel
mm,
because we are focusing on one side of the narrative and it's pushing the narrative that they want you to see. Whereas the perfect neighbor was the only one that wasn't biased. It was just here is the footage. You make your call.
yeah,
Like it's not telling you how to feel.
yeah.
So I think that one to me stands out a little bit more than the second one from there is the Alabama solution.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% for the exact same reason. I think that the perfect neighbor does tell you its stance on things, but it does it in
Mhm.
a way that it doesn't need any voiceover interviews to kind of over explain things to you. Like it gets its message across just by showing you the footage.
Yes, 100%,
Yeah,
100%. Um, so, all right. Whew, there we go.
we
That
did it.
is our coverage of the documentary feature films and the documentary shorts. And that is all the show we have for you guys this week. And we appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to us going down this road of the Oscars. We had a really good time. Kind of, I think this is, again, I said this last week, I'll say it again. I think this is actually the first time that that we've actually had the time to have more than just a 5-second conversation about a nominee.
Yes, I agree. And also, it's not. It's just more. It's just more organized. Like everything's all
Yeah.
together. Like the how we reviewed things. Um, but yeah, it's that kind of. It wasn't like sprinkled throughout our other reviews. So I love how we did it this year. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, you know what? No notes. We'll do it again next year.
Facts, Matthew.
We'll do the
Facts.
same way that next year. But I think also like again because it feels like that there were some like especially some we were saving for the predictions episode. So like we were trying to give our overall predictions, but we want to give due to like some of the other nominees, and so like we would give like a very small description of how we felt about it in the mix of everything else that was going on. I feel like this year we were able to like spend as much time as we wanted on each category as well as each nominee. And obviously we covered a lot of the films in previous episodes before we knew they were getting nominated, but then really focusing on the things that were not on our radar before and kind of give it its due. It's like some things we have a lot of things to say, some things we did not. Depending on the documentary, depends on this film that they presented to us and how what we felt about it. But at least we were able to have the opportunity to talk about them as much as we wanted to.
Hmm.
And really, I think this year, out of all the years, I think we have the most connection with these nominees than we've ever had before.
Yeah, totally agree.
But our coverage isn't over yet.
One more.
We
Well,
we have
two
one more. We have two more. We have two more episodes left, kind of highlighting the Oscars coverage. Like we said, next week we're going to be talking about our Oscars predictions. So we are going to go through every category and kind of go over all the nominees, and we're going to see which ones we think should win and which one we think will win. And those are two different things.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's going to be a fun conversation. We're going to try to see how much we can get right overall. And then the episode that follows after that is typically our bonus episode, which we talk about the winners, we talk about the ceremony itself, and other reactions. And then we also wrap up our award season conversation as well, where we go over all the other like winners that happened in the other award categories, as well as we'll also cover the Razzies as well, and which ones won those as well. And that's kind of at the end of that, that's kind of wraps up our award conversation. And then we go back to the fun stuff. We
Until
have
next
a
year.
full spring lineup of new releases that we are really excited to talk about,
Oh
like
yeah.
Scream 7, Ready or Not 2, Project Hail Mary, Super Mario Galaxy movie. I'm
Michael.
missing another one.
Michael.
What's the other?
Michael. The
Michael,
Michael
yeah,
Jackson
coming in
biopic.
May. The drama, the new movie from Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, that looks interesting. So yeah, we have a very. We also have Hoppers coming in a couple weeks as well. It was a new Pixar movie. So yeah, we got a lot of movies and a lot of stuff that we are ready for the spring, and then of course that's going to dive into the summer as well. So if you want more from us, you can always follow us on our social media channels on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Box Office Bingers, our X and Letterbox page at Box Office Binger, and our Threads and Instagram page at Box Office_Bingers. The fun doesn't stop here. It continues on all of our social media channels. So be sure to give each one of those a follow. We will tell you on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads page. We'll tell you what is new to streaming every Friday, and we'll give you the box office numbers every Sunday, as well as our movie reviews are all located on our letterbox. And then you can see our lovely faces on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, Instagram. We also post shorts there from our episodes. And then you can see our lovely faces on a full version episode if you're not already doing so on our YouTube channel, where we have a full video on that. And then also our Spotify. You can go find us on Spotify, Apple. That's probably where you listen to them right now. But if you listen on Apple, then go look at us on Spotify. If you listen on Spotify, go to Apple.
That's how that works.
Or that's how that works. Or anywhere else you listen to your podcast. But we really appreciate all of the listens and watch that you guys do for us. We really love doing this. Really love talking about movies, and we appreciate you guys joining along for the ride. So, with that case, come back next week for more Oscar coverage and for more movie fun. And for that, I've been your host, Matt Diaz.
And I've been Ernesto Santos. See ya.